Hello world. Hello Mongoose Magic Moments fans. It's author Grant Malcolm mcilrath, the Meerkat man, the Mongoose man, and it is an absolutely beautiful day in the Meerkat Magic Valley Reserve of the Meerkat Magic Conservation Project. And of course, it's time for another episode in the Mongoose Magic Moments Diaries, the world famous mongoose from the TSEBOKOLODI Yellow Mongoose group. Kakulu, Kuchiolina, Chenorentola, TSEBOKOLODI. And of course, we are here at our usual place, just outside the Meerkatmansion research base. And Gakulu is looking very good today. I do believe she's in an early stage of pregnancy. I'm hoping that by perhaps mid-March, April, we could be seeing some new TSEBOKOLODI Yellow Mongoose babies. Of course, for those who know the work that we do here, you will understand already that Gakulu is a world-famous mongoose, the most famous on the entire internet for the yellow mongoose species, cynictispenicillata. I have been following her in my wildlife research since November 2018, and today is another Mongoose Magic Moments Diaries episode. I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are in the world. And it's very beautiful to watch a wild mongoose hunting for food. You can see how very quickly she stops, smells anything under the ground, investigates every scent. There you can see how her legs stick outright, unlike that of the meerkats. Of course, the meerkats from the Ungulungu Meerkat group have been protected by myself in the reserve area since 2001. Meerkat Magic Moments. But today, it's Mongoose Magic Moments. Thank you to everybody who joined the narration yesterday evening. I put up 3 new videos last night and answered many questions. The last video was about our beautiful snake species, which of course mongooses such as her do hunt. But they are very, very important reptiles in the reserve. The puff adder, Bitus aritans, and of course the Cape cobra Nudgenivier. Looks like a juicy lava was just dug up. There are many different grubs that hide beneath the vegetation, and meerkats and mongooses will find them. They have no way of escaping from these animals because of the beautiful digging habits that they have, where they can smash through compacted soil in an area such as this, which is almost like concrete or cement. They will dig it up very easily because of their incredible nails. Mongooses have 5 nails on the front feet, 4 on the back feet. Hello world, this is the superstar Kakulukucholina Chenorentola, and she is just tolerating my presence even though I'm sitting here so close to her. That's because I'm just a noisy object to her that she basically tolerates in this area as she goes about her daily life. And that is the beauty of being a research biologist working long-term with wildlife. I have been a professional nature conservationist since 1993. You may have seen my films with the BBC, National Geographic and Discovery Channel. The chances are good if you've seen any films on meerkats since 1993, you have seen work that I have been involved with, or I'm in the film directly. But this is, of course, Mongoose Magic Moments. Her mother is super famous because she was in the BMW unscripted series of films back in 2010. And again, I've been following the family of TSEBOKOLODI since 2008. But in 2010, her mother, along with the Ungulungu meerkats, were seen by millions of viewers when the advert and then the 5 short films were shown on the Super Bowl in the US of A. So now we get an opportunity to follow the offspring of that world-famous mother, and she really is a superstar. If you Google search for her and the TSEBOKOLODI Yellow Mongoose group, you'll see the name in title. You will find media on her for many, many years. It is a great privilege to be able to follow a wild animal as it goes about its daily life activities, because we never know when we might not see them again. And that is why it's so very, very special when we can see them and simply enjoy what I like to call an unedited wildlife documentary. It's going to be a cooker here in the reserve today, which is pretty much how I start most of the videos, saying how hot it can get here, because it can go over 50 degrees centigrade in summer. However, yesterday was very cold and windy and overcast, and I wanted to bring you a live stream, but there was no mongoose to be seen, because on very cold and windy days, meerkats and mongooses stay away from open areas, and especially on very windy days, vegetation moves suddenly and unpredictably, and that can also mean there is danger nearby. And on windy days, and especially overcast and windy days, it's a disaster as a wildlife researcher to be around these animals, because the predators, such as the birds of prey in the area, will often fly around in the thermals and also be hidden against the clouds. I always like to give everyone a bit of a view around the area that I'm sitting at, because many people simply think they've logged on to a stream of a tame animal, and that is not the case. She can go anywhere she wants in the reserve, and she does. Maybe we'll get to follow her today and see where else she goes. I do like to start our visit following her in one of her favorite places that she will come through almost on a daily basis to visit, because it's an area where insects gather. There's a water feature, which some people who know my work will know is just past this tree. So she will also come and drink water. And that is why there's so many different items of food in the area, because everybody is doing the same thing. In fact, there's an entire rodent colony living just around here, from Rhabdomus pumila, the striped mice. But they will be staying far away from her right now. Mongoose's names in Afrikaans are the meishonde, or the mouse dogs. I love that name. Meis, M-U-I-S, it's mouse, hond, H-O-N-D, dog, meishonde, plural, dogs. Yeah, mouse dogs. But they are not polecats, they are not badgers, and they are not otters. And I say that because many people confuse striped polecats, which in Afrikaans, Onyx striatus, scientific name for them, are called die stinkmeishond. A shout out to all our Afrikaans viewers out there. A stinkmeishond, a stinky mouse dog, is not a mouse dog, not a meishond. In fact, it is related to the otters, the badgers, and the polecats, and that's why I'm mentioning it. Common names are very misleading. So Onyx striatus, die stinkmeishond, is not a mongoose. It is not a meishond. People keep giving animals very misleading names, and then they wonder why there's a great deal of confusion between the names. And you might not think this is of any importance, but there is a massive amount of importance due to it between life and death. When an animal such as this is confused with a meerkat who eats mainly insects, and then somebody says, oh, I saw the meishond, and there are over 35 species of mongoose in the world, eating this or eating my livestock, etc., and then they don't know which one it was, or if it even was one, then all those animals are persecuted and killed unselectively, quite commonly poisoned, shot at, trapped, etc. And of course, they're completely innocent. And I like to say, without conservation through education, getting that information out of the scientific publications, clarifying the difference between these highly secretive creatures that most people never get to see, they simply end up getting killed because people don't understand them and the differences between them. And it all starts with the names that they're given. People don't believe that animal is actually innocent of ever attacking their chickens or ostrich chicks. They won't hesitate to kill it if they believe it's in direct conflict with what they're doing. However, these are the farmers' friends. They control rogue plagues. They move into an area. They could decimate a farmer's crops. And I like to say, in this area, we have wildlife-friendly organic farming. I work with a professional farmer as well in the Mīakyatmagic Valley Reserve, who takes care of the historically planted areas of lucerne or alfalfa. And all the animals in the area, the burrows are protected. They are fenced off to stop wild roaming of cattle that break free from their fenced-in areas, from destroying these wildlife hotels, the burrows where these animals live, of course. And right here, she is busy scent marking the entrance, and many people will know this, to one of her sleeping areas, one of the pipes in the ground. That Alessia Torchini, a shout out to you from Italy, and Asia Chile, from Associazione Suricati Italia, who sponsor our work with mongoose and meerkats. All right, she's been very alert as she checks. You may have noticed she sniffed something there. That is an entrance pipe to a burrow system in this area. And there's the other one over there. It's an entire labyrinth, and we are building even more of these in the area. If you'd like to contribute, you can, well, you can find the information, and you're welcome to come out and visit and lend us some of your muscle power. Applied conservation right there. These pipes are used by the various species of animals in the area, and you may wonder why we're putting pipes into an area like this, because in the past it looked like that everywhere. It was just desertified. Many areas have been plowed in these farming regions and have destroyed all of the sleeping areas of the digging animals, and we are bringing these sleeping areas back. You might think, well, they're such good diggers. Why don't they just dig up their own burrows? Why do you have to provide them with additional places? Because they cannot dig up an entire network of burrows in a few seconds when they're being attacked by a predator. These burrow systems could be thousands of years old, and they're inherited from one generation to the next. With meerkats, it is matrilineal, so these burrows are passed down from mother to daughter, matrilineal. Many animals actually contribute to the upkeep and maintenance of these burrow systems. And in the distance on the eco wall, you can see many more of these burrow systems. TSEBOKOLODI. Chop chop. Just letting her know everything's fine, because I'm going to stand up soon. Because usually she doesn't spend more than a few minutes in the area, and I don't want to disturb her. And then hopefully we will be able to follow her and see where she goes. All right, bear with me. you're watching what it is like to stand up next to a wild mongoose. And I have to be extremely careful as I unfold myself. And already I have disturbed her slightly, but she's coming back because she knows the sounds I'm making. Just to put this in perspective, when I stand up, I'm over 6 foot high. So let's give you a proper view of what it is like now to walk with wildlife and to be a wildlife observer. You are seeing a view that few people will ever see in their lives. Out of the billions of people on the planet, we are the only ones right now watching a wild yellow mongoose, cynictispenicillata, and this is a research project, of course, and conservation of the species. Yellow mongoose, cynictispenicillata, and of course, the meerkat from the Ungulungu meerkat group. Here you can see what it is like for me on a daily basis looking around at my height. And then looking down at the yellow mongoose right here within 1.5 meters of my feet. Now, if you're collecting data, which I have done a lot of, in the Kalahari Desert with Cambridge University Large Animal Research Group, LARG, and the University of Pretoria in South Africa, Mammal Research Institute, MRI. If you were one of my research assistants, and we had an international project of over a dozen plus research biologists from around the world, professors, postdocs, doctorates, etc., you would be spending 13 hours plus every single day collecting data. And one of the types of data you'd be collecting is what animals are eating, how long they spend looking for it, the different caloric intake, basically based on size. Many animals spend time looking for food and are unsuccessful. Chap chap. And she's seen something and immediately she relaxes again. Please notice, mongoose and meerkats do not simply walk around being relaxed and that you can go up to them as an observer. Most people will never get to see them closer than a few meters away if they are with myself or another research biologist who has spent decades studying the species. I'm going to move away slightly to give you an idea of what it's like. How well she blends into the vegetation, only from a few meters away. Already, she almost becomes invisible. She's incredibly well camouflaged. And this is only from a few meters away. Just putting this in perspective, everybody. Let's zoom out. Yeah, there's a mongoose right there. I was just with her a moment ago. And even though we know she is there as a viewer, please do drop a like, subscribe, and comment. And please let me know if you can actually see the mongoose right now. That we know is there. Yeah, now imagine you are a farmer or another human in the area moving past quickly in your vehicle. These animals see people and hear people long before anyone is anywhere near them. They're incredibly secretive. They are the most secretive animals in the entire area in South Africa. Which means not only are they incredibly difficult to follow and study, but unlike elephant, rhinoceros, and the larger species out there, which we can simply count and survey in nature conservation and research, these animals cannot be documented in that way. You cannot fly over them and do an aerial survey because they simply go beneath the ground. You cannot walk into an area and simply count them because they won't allow you anywhere near them unless you get the approval of the neighborhood watch, which is why it takes many, many years of work to be able to get to the point where I am right now, where I can simply show you a wild yellow mongoose right here. Yeah. And not only am I right here, I'm with her away from the security of one of her safety areas in the ground. So now I can tell you exactly what is happening with her life on a daily basis, and you can share her stories, the Mongoose Magic Moments diaries. It's unique in the world. If you were to try and walk up to any of these animals in the wild, they will see and hear any disturbance kilometers away, miles away from where they are. And the entire neighborhood of different birds and mammals and even insects will start making alarm calls. You might think an insect, what a lot of nonsense. I do enjoy using examples that seem absolutely ridiculous because this one is a fact. The cicada, please drop a comment if you know about what a cicada is. They're still quiet because it's not yet 27 degrees centigrade, but it will get there soon in the next few hours and then go over into the upper 30 degrees centigrade. The cicada is what I call the bush thermometer. It has tymbals, T-Y-M-B-A-L-S, that vibrate in its abdomen to make a loud whining sound. And when it starts to whine, many people in Africa who have been to Africa will know this. It's like a loud, deafening humming sound. When that insect stops making that sound suddenly, that's because there's a disturbance. And I wrote a poem about this called The Silent Call, being the most deafening alarm of all in the Neighborhood Watch. And that's in my Meerkats book 2016. It's an internationally published poem about an insect. Yes. And that is why I wrote that poem, because that insect is probably the most important member of the Neighborhood Watch. When I move into an area for the first time, those insects will stop calling and all the animals in the area will become alarmed and they will stand up. However, when I'm around animals such as TSEBOKOLODI right here, who know me very well and have done all the way since she was born in November 2018, for our regular viewers, you'll know this information well. When she is relaxed around me as a noisy object, who's getting closer now, all of the animals relax, including animals I've never even seen before. It is like you have a passport into the neighborhood, because when they look at an animal that is hyper vigilant and it is not showing any signs of fear, not alarming, they of course do not alarm. Even though you are not from that area, if you're with me on a visit, they will accept our presence, and that is absolutely incredible. So we bypass the usual neighborhood watch, which can take many years to get different animals to accept us. There's a bird species not far away. It is in fact the Karoo scrub robin. Very, very secretive creature most of the time. And it's coming closer because it is watching our superstar right here. Just a shout out to Hollywood and Bollywood and all the actors and actresses out there in the world. And I have had some of them visit me on tours. These are the wildlife superstars. That bird follows this particular mongoose around every single day. It's the same one. I know where it sleeps. And every day it comes out of its sleeping area to go look for this mongoose, because this mongoose is its meal ticket. The mongoose is disturbing many creatures beneath the surface, digging them up, which the bird cannot reach. And then the bird is also able to alarm if there are any dangers nearby. And that benefits both the bird and the mongoose. And the mongoose also alarms if there's danger nearby. Of course, the mongoose is not currently alarming because I'm not considered to be a danger. However, she will watch me because she's not tame. That means I can lose this selective trust in a moment if I am not extremely careful to let her know where I am at all times. She's not looking at me, but if I stop calling, and then move very briefly, she will react immediately because she is not tame, and she will react to predators that make that sound. And that's exactly why it is not unselective trust. It's highly selective trust that takes years. It's interspecies communication using associative learning, NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, basically animal psychology. You first need to understand the species you're with and their different behaviors, what they mean, before you can get their trust. And they will not trust anybody else who does not make the recognized signals that they know. Even the shoes that I'm wearing, which have been on the internet recently and are becoming very famous. Who knew a shoe would become a potential viral video? So let me have a little pause and show you this, if I can balance on one foot. Yeah, And my shoe that you can see there is totally broken, and so is that one, because I've used them for many years, because they're part of the territory. The meerkats and the mongooses know them very well in this area. And if I don't wear these shoes to this area, they will not accept my presence because they know the shoes. So even if I'm with them and I'm not making any sounds and I'm not moving to disturb the vegetation, they will allow me to get right up to them because they already have what I call smellogram messages, an SSMS on my shoes. Anybody who is with me, including presenters like Nigel Marvin, Nick Stringer, Simon King, who I've met and worked with, and even the legendary Sir David Attenborough has worked in the Kalahari Desert with our meerkat study group. Everybody has to make the recognized sounds that the animals we have worked with know and trust. And that is, of course, an audio association. Here's my displacement reassurance. If an animal stops and looks at something they're unfamiliar with, because I crunched a twig and they're looking at it and I called to let them know it was just me, the research biologist, noisy, clumsy object that you're tolerating, along with the other researchers and film crews, to get you close as the viewer, well, this attracts them to something that they are familiar with, away from something that disturbed them. Without the displacement reassurance, again, why I'm given the nickname the man behind the hand here, they will react and basically alarm. So there's calls, audio, there's visual and olfactory associations I have in place just for this particular mongoose. The meerkats recognize different sounds and signals as well. But the meerkats and the mongoose and everybody else in this entire territory recognizes the scent on these shoes because they have put it there themselves. These shoes have been marked by wild meerkats and wild yellow mongoose. So I'm not interested in any other shoes because they would be worthless to me out here. If I had to wear them, I will not get anywhere near these incredibly secretive animals. There you can see her grooming almost like a cat, and that is why I like to say the yellow mongoose, cynictispenicillata, is far more cat-like in appearance than that of the mere hond, or the mere dog, which is much more dog-like. I'm not sure why people still consider it to be a cat species. It's not a cat, and in fact, it's not a mongoose. The mongooses, the unfortunate plural, not mongoose and mongai, as I often joke about, is of course related to genets and civets. And mongooses, not the Mustelidae family of the otter, the badger, and the weasel or stoat, polecat, ferret. All right, it's question time, everybody. Yes, if you're out there or if you watch the stream, please remember to comment. Comment your comments in the comment. Yeah, that's a famous line. I wonder if you know where that's from. Anyway, moving on. What we have is a yellow mongoose, cynictispenicillata, Mongoose Magic Moments Diaries. Question number 1. How many nails do yellow mongoose have on their front paws? How many nails? And how many are on the back paws? I'll give you a clue. It's the same number that a dog has. Any comments? Any comments? All right, please do like, subscribe, and share if you've learned anything new today. And if you are regular viewers, thank you and welcome back. Our channel has reached over 1.9 million views. Thank you to everyone for your support. Please do visit our European shop. Please do visit our USA shop as well. Check out PayPal, check out joining the channel. All right, there, she went in the tube and she came out over there. There's a whole labyrinth. TSEBOKOLODI. All right, the answer to the question, everyone's had long enough. 5 nails on the front feet and each paw, so 10 in total. 4 on the back, like with dogs. So 4 and 4, that's 8. It's a total of 18. Meerkats. How many nails do meerkats have on the front feet? How many on the back feet? I'll give you another clue here. Banded mongoose, the most sociable mongoose in the world, which I've studied in Uganda, Queen Elizabeth Park, back in 1997. They live in groups of 60 plus. Have 1 extra nail per foot or paw on the front and back feet. There's a clue. So meerkats have, the answer is, please comment, how many nails on the front feet and how many do the yellow mongooses have? Meerkats have 4 nails on the front feet and 4 on the back. Banded mongoose, therefore, with the 1 extra, have 5 on the front, 5 on the back. TSEBOKOLODI. Chop chop. Chop 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 chop. Right. Looks like she's headed into the shade for the day until it cools down a bit later. Oh, we're very lucky she's decided to come out again. Briefly checking. Look at that. Again, a big shout out to our tube sponsors, the Artificial Wildlife Hotels. Alessia Torchini from Italy. Asia Chili, her daughter, from Associazione Suricati Italia. All right, she's going back to investigate that section of the shade. TSEBOKOLODI. All right, I'll get closer in a moment. TSEBOKOLODI. Chop chop. Diggy 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 diggy. Diggy 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 diggy. Diggy 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 diggy. TSEBOKOLODI. She almost becomes invisible beneath the shadows. Diggy 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 diggy. Chop chops. She's been incredibly cooperative right now, and we're fortunate that we can spend a few more moments with her. And that is why I like to say Mongoose magic moments and Meerkat magic moments, because they are moments in time. They are not guaranteed. Even though I followed her all the way since November 2018, every single visit with her is an incredible opportunity for me to study a wild yellow mongoose up close and have a window into her life, because you never know when that can change in an instant. And for those who followed her video diaries over last year, you will know that she was in a terrible territorial fight. Excuse me. And she lost her lower canines and her incisor teeth, and that's why she has that pink scar on her lower jaw. Yeah. After the fight, she was very bloody, and then I didn't see her for many days, and I feared the worst. Thank you for everybody out there for all your kind comments and concern about her. And as you can see, she has fully recovered. Of course, she will never grow back those teeth. They're gone. And that has impacted on her ability to find food as easily, to capture it, because she doesn't have the canines anymore to grab onto the food. Welcome out there. You're watching Mongoose Magic Moments. This is a wild yellow mongoose that I've been studying along with her family mongoose group since 2008. She was born in November 2018. She has had 1 baby since then, the world famous Squekiskoyatlo. given the names from our sponsors. Scoiattolo, for our Italian viewers, you'll know what that is. It's a squirrel because of its very puffy tail, the white tip to the tail. Her little son, who has left the family and moved off to start his own family. He was one of the mongooses, and I did a little video of him the first time. He didn't know what I was as the object that he had grown up with, and he came up and bit my shoe, the very shoes you'll recognize from that all those many months ago, when he was only a little baby coming up for the first time, and we put videos of him and his life up in the Mongoose Magic Moments Diaries episodes. You can Google search him, check out the YouTube channel if you would like to see what a baby yellow mongoose looks like and how he was growing up. She is the mother of Squeaky Scoiattolo, the little squirrel. Her mother is the most famous yellow mongoose of all time, because she was in the Super Bowl in America, USA, on the big screen, watched by millions and millions of people, along with the Ungulungu Meerkats here in the Meerkat Magic Valley Reserve of the Meerkat Magic Conservation Project in South Africa. Alright, she's going back to check on one of her burrow entrances here. It's already starting to get hot. Yes, in the distance I can hear the insects, the cicadas, the bush thermometers starting to call. They're still fairly quiet. It's just going on about 27 or 28 degrees centigrade now. They're right on cue. Oh, it's going to be hot today. Yesterday it was completely overcast. We are in a terrible drought here in Oudtshoorn in the Western Cape of South Africa. There has been no rainfall in the area of even 1 millimeter for many months, and the reserve river has completely dried up. All right, back to these wildlife hotels. We are building colonies to help the pioneer mammals who dig holes move back into areas where they used to occur, but their burrows were destroyed by plowing or other land usage practices, and they are no longer able to move into an area safely, because they cannot simply move into an area and dig an escape tunnel within a matter of moments to escape from a predator. Only a moment later, even though we know she is in this tube, there she is. Look at that. You would not be seeing her at all if not for the fact that I know her very well. And that's why I enjoy live streams, because any schools, universities in the world, we could have thousands of observers and nobody would be disturbing their animals. It's an incredible tool for conservation through education, as I can answer questions in real time. And if you've got any comments that you think of later questions, please do put them on over 1,400 plus videos out there. You can take your pick. Thank you to everyone who joined the live stream narration yesterday. There she is. About our most famous snake of the puff adder species, Betis arritans. TSEBOKOLODI. All right, she might be getting ready for a little siesta. Meerkats do this as well. After they've eaten and it starts getting hot, they'll move into the shade of trees or into bolt hole escape tunnels. Recently I did an hour-and-a-half live stream on TikTok for the first time. I did upload it onto the channel for anyone who would like to see what happened on that particular episode. But she was sleeping just in the entrance over here. I'll give her a few more moments to see what she decides to do, whether she's going to come out and start scent marking her territory. With an unedited wildlife documentary, we never know what we might see. The other day, we recorded for the first time in film history, and this is a fact, yellow mongoose interacting with the fiscal shrike during a false alarm call. All right, just give a few moments over here to see where she is at the moment. She comes out again. You're getting a real idea now what it's like to be a wildlife research biologist. If that's not your profession, please let me know what your profession is or what your interest is. Drop a comment, thanks, drop a like and a sub. Never know when our next wildlife stream will be. All right, looks like she's gone into the burrow and she's staying in the burrow for now. I'll pull back a bit here. Perhaps we'll see her come out again in a few moments, but if not, then I'll end the stream soon. Thank you so much for joining us today on the stream. All right, wildlife research, you can often spend hours and hours and hours being incredibly patient. You can get sunburnt, you can get bitten by all sorts of creatures, and it is difficult to even move. And if you move and a wild animal is watching you, you could stop it from being relaxed within a moment. It could decide that you are a threat, and then you'll spend even longer waiting, watching a hole in the ground like this, and nothing comes out. Imagine that. And you won't just be doing it when it's convenient for yourself. My day starts at 3 o'clock in the morning when I'm watching wildlife. And then you need to make sure you are there before anybody even wakes up so that you don't disturb them. And that's not Monday to Friday. That's every single day for many, many years and thousands of hours to get to the point where you can eventually see animals up close and not simply look at holes in the ground. Welcome, you're watching the end of the live stream of Mongoose Magic Moments. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'm signing off. She's gone to sleep. All the best.